This is Dean Vaughn from the Music Podcast Show in Las Vegas. How's everyone doing out there? Boy, do we have a special guest for you today. I got a surprise. He's a musical genius, this guy. His name is ASHER LAUB. And I'll be sitting down with this international superstar. He's a violinist, and he integrates hip-hop beat while breakdancing. ASHER also records and produces originals and covers, incorporating his own personal style. He is truly an amazing entertainer that you're about to find out. During the show, we will be playing some of his latest music videos, and I think you're going to enjoy them. We're going to talk about some of the things he's overcome in his career. And in the description, you will find a lot of ASHER's fan links and so on. So I'm going to bring ASHER in right now. He's been waiting patiently in the green room. I had somebody in there serving him cocktails and tea, but I heard he doesn't drink before a performance. We're going to quickly find out. So let's bring ASHER in and see how he's doing. Okay, there. I think he's showing up right about now. Up and unmute your mic there, ASHER, and yeah, you're ready to roll.
I'm ready to roll. How you doing, Dean?
Man, how are you, bro?
Good. Thanks for having me.
You know, I feel I know you because I've done a little bit of research and I've watched, I think, every one of your videos. And what an amazing musician you are, in person, and not just in the the music world, but you're an amazing person.
Thank you.
Yeah, and man, I would aspire to be like you. I'll tell you that. But I do. I just went through your entire bio. And the Philharmonic and some of the places that you've played. But I'm going to go back to, way back, and your parents and being supportive, and how did you get started, and how did you end up in music, period? I mean, how did you get started? Where was your influences?
Well, as my wife says, music kind of chose me. I didn't really choose it. And I started at the age of 2. Out of margarine box violin with rubber bands serving as strings, so I was kind of plucking away.
Right.
And that was the only thing that fit me at that size. And I kind of graduated different size violins throughout the Suzuki method up until I hit the full-size violin in high school. So that's kind of how it began in the classical realm of life.
Okay.
And really traditional. I kind of chose it according to my mother. Because I looked up to my older brother, who's about 6 years older than me, and was a bit of a virtuoso at that thing. So too bad he didn't make it a career.
Oh,
but
man.
he's a hell of a mentor in that regard.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
and the violin. Okay, so you're mixing up the violin with this hip hop and this break dance, and where did all that come from?
Oh yeah.
Was someone doing it before you, or are you the creator of that? Where did you get that idea?
Yeah, I am not the creator of that. I'm not going to take credit for inventing the dancing violin concept. Lindsey Sterling could probably take credit for that.
Okay.
But maybe I'm the first male that ever.
Oh, I heard about her. Somebody emailed me and said you need to interview this lady or this girl. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. No, she's an inspiration to many, and also just the violin world alone. And so are guys like David Garrett. I mention them on every pretty much every interview because I'm a big admirer of these musicians. They're very innovative, and they kind of push the limits of what traditional classical is into like the crossover classical, and that's like a growing phenomenon as a result. There's a lot of opportunities now because of them.
Gotcha.
In the contemporary string classical world.
Right.
Violins are kind of taking more of a frontman type of position on stage.
That's pretty fascinating. I just think it's amazing what you do. You're really bringing this show to life with your integrated talents and how you're mixing it up. And I think that's what this show is really all about, is especially the new artists. And I want to bring them up and launch them and make them successful, and especially when they have a really good story behind them. It's like being on the what was it used to be called Star Search. You always had to have a good story, and man, you got a good story. And
Thank you.
I watched a little bit of your interview with Matt Bell.
Oh wow! Yeah, that was
It was back in
wow.
20. You did it.
Fast in the
You
past.
He's a violin teacher or makes violins.
He works with the Electric Violin Shop.
Okay.
That was an interview, I believe, with the Electric Violin Shop.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, he's also a really innovative kind of guy, specifically with electric violins and just the possibilities, the
he was
tonal
talking.
possibilities.
I want to talk a little bit about your violin. It was an Aurora, and it had LED lights in it, and you had this special mount made so it wasn't so much weight on your shoulder because it was kind of messing you up a little bit. Maybe talk a little bit about your instrument. I know it's an Aurora, I think. Still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you pay real good attention. Most people don't know.
Go ahead and tell me just a little bit about why you picked that particular instrument. I know you said you liked the looks of it.
Yeah, I thought it was a beautiful piece, and I like the tone. Honestly, electric violins are hard to get the authentic woody tone out of. Technology has improved is much more improved these days, and with all the tech information and knowledge that I have now, I'm able to make it sound like a beautiful piece of wood. I chose so tonal wise, I thought it was like really up there in terms
of. It has real wood, right? I think you talked about that.
Real wood, and I had a fully transparent instrument prior to that, and it was just missing the tone. It looked beautiful, lit up, and everything, but I was looking for something that wasn't missing that authentic tone.
A little bit more human.
Yeah, but what you sacrifice with that is the weight on the shoulders, and a lot of guys and girls, they don't care, but for me, I have a pretty serious health condition that I've been managing for decades now. Are you
still dealing with that today?
I am cautiously dealing with it, meaning I'm fully functional. I'm doing concerts, performances all over the place, busy as hell. But I have to be really careful of just all sorts of aspects of my health. I'm constantly checking my blood pressure, my weight, yeah, that's me. I'm always, I have to make sure that my body doesn't regress to a state of adrenal insufficiency, which is in a nutshell what I had and what I've been combating for many years.
Now, adrenal
could be part of the back pain.
It's called adrenal deficiency, did you say?
Adrenal insufficiency. So my adrenal glands aren't producing enough cortisol, and I've found ways to compensate. And it got pretty bad about 7 or 8 years ago, and I've been doing really well with occasional issues here and there. But I'm pretty vigilant about my health now.
That's pretty smart, especially you're out on tour and you're traveling. And and how many gigs are you doing? I noticed, I grabbed this picture off the internet. It looks like you're doing a private gig. I think this is part of your bio or part of your public.
Yeah, that was on the water. I do all sorts of things. I was just out in Maui. I love talking about that because I got to travel. I love going out to Los Angeles, Florida. I like going to Canada, other countries.
Nice.
Just exploring. And I like just how I like the diversity of the events. Like I can't really play the same event or play with the same musicians every time. So yeah, everything's different. I'm doing about 150 to 225 events a year, live events. I'm trying to augment that with like live stream concerts, which I haven't really taken advantage of enough, but I'm hoping to do that a little more now.
Well, it's incredible how far you've come. I mean, it looks like you've been out there on tour and playing for the last 20 years, but I don't know if that's accurate. But to look at you, you're so professional, and the videos are amazing. I love some of the videos you've done. In fact, you have a lot of other videos that look like you just kind of shot them, just live gigs, things like that, which is cool because you're showing people who you really are. Of course, we can do the facade and only show the really, really cool videos, but you pretty much, like you said, you're an open book. And I'm an open book. If you ever interview me, I'm going to tell you pretty much everything I've done.
We could do that now. I'd be fascinated to hear. A lot of people who interview me, I'm actually more interested in them than me.
You know, and that is so true. You know, and I feel like I know you because if I interview someone now, my last 8 interviews, you're number 9. I don't know. I think you're number 9 or 10. Anyway, I have known all of them, and I have been in rock bands with with most of them. And one of them was my fiance, 17 years. I just did the interview with her. I just released it yesterday.
Oh, that's beautiful.
She was in The Punisher. She was with Elliot Gould in Ocean's 11, 12, and 13. She was, she's with all these great movie stars, and she never talks about it. I says, honey, you need to do a podcast.
That's the mark of a true movie star who
right.
doesn't feel the need to talk too much about themselves.
And they never watch their own movies, you know. She's in this one called Exchange Lifeguards, and man, it's really cool because she's the leading lady to Elliot Gould. She's his wife, and it's only been played in Australia because that's where she's from. And I think a lot of us, I'm kind of like that too. I don't know about you. Do you watch your own videos? I mean, do you like to watch yourself?
When I have to, I don't, because I'm constantly producing videos and micro videos for social media. I have enough of myself. Like. People are watching me. Why do I need to watch myself?
Yeah. I get tired of looking at myself too sometimes, you know. But sometimes you got to say, hey, am I looking okay? You know, I used to wear makeup back in the 80s when I was in a rock band, you know, eyeliner and all that shit, you know.
You got to do it.
Because the lights, you know, people didn't understand that you're in the lights. You know, you got, 20,000 watts of lights in your face, man. You gotta pad down and put some eye makeup on. Otherwise, you just get washed out from the sweat.
Oh, for sure.
But entertainers, I don't know if you do that. I mean, you're a little bit more comfortable setting up the light. If you ever have a big show, and I've saw you in some pretty big shows.
Yeah, I do. I'm lucky. I'm lucky enough to do a number of pretty large shows. I don't wear makeup. Maybe I should. I don't have a personal manager to tell me you got to wear makeup. You know?
Put some lipstick on. How's that?
Yeah.
No, that's funny. Yeah, I never really liked it. I used to have a hairdresser backstage, make sure I looked right. By halfway through the show, I was a mess. Rock and roll, it really has a tear on you.
Well, I had a hairdresser actually for my for when I was featured on PBS a couple years ago.
Okay, all right.
And they were like brushing my hair, and they're like, you know what? They're brushing everybody's hair except for mine. They're like, you know what? They take a towel and they just kind of like mush it up, and it looked great. Like much better than the hairbrush, because just my hair it doesn't work that way. I haven't pulled my hair in decades.
You got hair like mine. I can't seem to grow a proper beard, so I got this fuzzy little beard I'm growing, and I see guys with this, they're perfectly trimmed, they got this perfect hair, and I can never grow a beard that looks the way I want it to. And It's funny, we're never happy with the way we look, we want to do something else, right?
Oh yeah. I can totally relate, but I got more or less of a rug up here as opposed to hair.
You got nice hair, man. At least you got your hair, right?
Hey, it takes a lot of work, comes and goes.
Well, so I don't. You don't have to answer, but how old are you now?
22.
Oh my God.
No.
Hey, let's go with that. 20. Asher just turned 22. He's got his fake ID in his pocket still.
I used to be so upset that I couldn't get into bars when I actually was of age because everybody thought I was too young.
Right.
But now I wouldn't mind looking young.
Right. Exactly.
Late 30s. How about that? Do I pull it off well?
You qualify for early 30s.
Early 30s. Okay.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that because everybody knows. You can go to my website and find out how old I am. Oh, man. Sometimes I feel older some days, and sometimes I feel younger. Like I feel pretty good today. Woke up, had a shower, had a bagel. I've got my water because I ran out of coffee. So yeah, I'm not coffeeed out yet, which is a good thing. I get pretty amped up, so probably a good thing because I get.
Yeah, I'm not a coffee person because it makes me jittery. If it didn't, I would love to have some every morning, but instead I eat chocolate.
Oh, I love chocolate.
It's my coffee. It's my caffeine.
And you know what? I love chocolate. Maybe I'll take up like a shot of chocolate in the morning.
But dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate. I love dark chocolate. And I like white chocolate too.
I would probably keel over from white chocolate with my condition.
No, do you have to be careful with your adrenal insufficiency as far as foods goes in water?
I do, and I have a lot of. I end up in all these different situations where I'm around these pretty cool chefs, and down these cruises and so on and so forth. And there's all sorts of foods that's tempting, and I have to find out. Okay, is it gluten? Is it like certain dairies? Like what that cause inflammation? And I was diagnosed with an inflammatory condition prior to my adrenal insufficiency, so I really have to be very careful, otherwise things flare up. I end up in bed for a week.
So you have to be careful, kind of like a diabetic does, and they have to take
Yeah.
their insulin type. Do you have any medication you have to take or anything like that?
I take pretty high end supplements.
Okay, so you stay healthy.
I used to be on Cortef, on a permanent dosage of Cortef, and that's essentially that is medication for the adrenal glands. We're not producing enough cortisol.
Gotcha.
That's steroid hormone, which you pretty much need to function as a human. But I got off of that, much to this dismay of my doctors. And now it's pretty much supplements.
Well, that's not a bad thing. Supplements aren't a bad thing at all. I mean, we all should take supplements.
Yeah, I'm not advocating. I happen to have a nursing degree just as a side, which is interesting in itself. But
that's actually that's in my notes, by the way.
Oh, really? Yeah. I don't advocate any one modality of medicine to anybody. Like, I just don't, because I'm not looking to sell anything. So I just want to be clear about that to any listeners who are like, well, you can't take supplements, or I take this.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not advocating anything.
No, I'm with you. That's what you do, and that's your personal life, and you're not a salesman for any of those guys.
Yeah.
Let's move on to, real quick, I was listening to this interview, and I was paying attention. You talked about a song that launched your career as an independent artist. I believe the name of the song was Neon Dreams. Is that right?
Yeah, Neon Dreams.
And you said after the last 10 years living with your adrenal insufficiency.
Yeah.
You went on to write Neon. You want to talk a little bit about that and what that song do for your career?
That was sort of represented this landmark, this milestone in my life, where I actually had the strength to just get up and do what I always dreamed of doing, and thought I would have lost it permanently.
Right.
So I was just sort of inspired to write a song that marked that milestone, and did really well. I should probably write another one like it. Yeah. People like it.
Aren't the best songs written out of personal, experience, especially when they're detrimental or they're significant in your life?
Yeah, I've found that tends to lead to some inspiration.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about the Neon Dream. So you went on to record it. Now, did you record that by yourself, or did you have some co-writers, producers?
I produced that by myself.
Okay.
I do work with co-producers and co-writers, but that was my baby. And so was the music video, which is my wife feels is like a cheesy 80s music video, but I really want to feature the breakdancers. That's what it was all about. We were doing some cool gigs that I kind of miss actually doing some of those events. But Neon Dreams is all about, just like never taking no for an answer, and just kind of pushing your limits until you get what you want.
Yeah, it's inspiring. It's inspiring to the audience.
And it's funny when you don't have the ability to stand, it's like that's all you need. Like, I don't need to even earn an income. I just need to be able to get out of bed, and that alone gave me so much joy. And then it was sort of like the next step was being able to work, to go back out to LA and to do work again.
Sure. And you talked about how that was the worst nightmare of your life, was that being down. Can you imagine not being able to do what you love to do? And I have some friends that are paralyzed. Lois's sister was a paraplegic, and she was also a genius musician who played guitar and sang, and she couldn't touch a guitar. And I got to hang out with her, and I just heard her tapes the other day. Wow! So there's so many talented people out there that overcome, and that just shows the strength in the person and the perseverance, and we can overcome anything if we just have the will and the desire, and we don't give up, right?
Yeah, and part of not giving up is just like ignoring people, in my opinion. Just like not listening to all the noise and people saying, "Well, you need to do it this way." It's like, okay, you're smart, like, or you have degrees, but you know what you're talking about, and I'm gonna fix this. So I did. And I just think people out there who might be listening to this who feel like, okay, they have an issue or they have a problem or an obstacle that seems insurmountable, just move the noise and just pummel ahead and try to figure out the problem. Maybe you can achieve what you want to achieve.
Well, you've had a string of so when you were in high school, I heard you had back problems, and was that part of this adrenal thing?
Yeah, I think it might have been like a cortisol deficiency, maybe subclinical at the time.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't think it was like an odd thing to be the only person in the orchestra unable to hold the instrument in a sustained manner.
Right.
I just thought, okay, I'm like a little weak, but it just got worse and worse over the years. And in 2001, I mean, that's when I hit the ground running professionally in New York and started doing, gigs all over the place. And it's like, I didn't have a choice to stop playing because it was earning my income. So
Right. And I heard you have a DAW at home that you use, digital audio workstation. I use Pro Tools 12 over here. So we'll be doing most of our audio in Pro Tools. But tell me about your recording, because I do talk about equipment on the show. I like to educate people as to how they can get in the studio and do their own recordings. Give me just a little snapshot of how you start your recordings and how you record them.
So I do use like this Universal Audio and Reaper DAW. I've come to really enjoy it.
Is that called Reaper? Reaper DAW?
Reaper, yeah.
Okay.
And I just gotten used to it. Again, when I'm not producing the music, I'm just recording my violin with some collaborations but with the large percentage of songs that I do produce myself, I'm using my MIDI keyboard, Contact, and MIDI sounds, and sometimes I'm bringing in recording artists that I know from the area or different parts in Europe that I've worked with.
Well, you have such a big sound on your recordings. I almost think that you went in and rented an orchestra. I mean, are you doing that through your digital audio?
Well, that's really kind of you. I'm doing a lot of layers with the violin.
Okay.
And that could be the big sound that you're referring to.
Okay, yeah.
I think also some of it is mixing and combination of that and proper EQ, cutting out the noise, which I'm sure you know about.
Man, you do great. Yeah. You do an awesome job. I'm telling you. You're doing it yourself. Are you bringing in any other outside professionals like engineers?
I do, and you'll hear that there are like some songs sound different than others, and that's because there's different people mixing, mastering, EQing. Some of them are me EQing, mixing, mastering. Some people are Dreaming Awake was mixed and mastered by a pro out in Germany. I love this guy. I'm probably gonna work with him again. Amazing. Like it just sounds like butter. Like it's just like the sound is so well mixed and mastered.
Oh my God, yeah. Isn't it nice when somebody takes your work and just masters it and brings it back and you go, holy crap, man, that sounds amazing,
Yeah, it definitely, it's nice to work with competent people.
Yeah. But to do it yourself, we're at an age today with the technology that's available to us. I just released a song about a month ago called North Shore Through Nevada. And, I was hanging out with my brother one day driving down the road, and I grabbed my guitar and I said, most of my songs have been professionally mastered and produced and all that, but I'm going to just do this one by myself. And when I was done, I'm like, it's just not right. I don't like it, but I'm going to release it anyway. So it's on Spotify, North Shore through Nevada. And I got these drums I took off my Line 6 looper pedal, right? I just love these drums, man. The Line 6 looper. I don't know if you're familiar.
Uh-huh.
And it's really for guitar players, and I'm kind of in between on guitar. And man, I start playing this drum beat. Doom, pa, doom, pa, it starts cranking. I go, wow. And it's hard to put a metronome or a click track to that because it's like an analog drum beat I'm bringing in, right? So I'm trying to match the freaking click track. I go, this isn't going to work. So I just played it. I just started, grabbed the bass. I have a Yamaha bass guitar, so I played the bass on it. Played a little bit of keys, grabbed my electric guitar, threw down some lead guitar part that I could have brought somebody in for that, but I didn't. Anyway, it's out there. But
I'll check it out.
Yeah, but like you, are you very critical of your own production, your own music when you're doing it yourself? Are you kind of like that where you look back at it, I could have done that different, or you just let it fly and say, man, it sounds awesome?
I become more and more anal retentive the more songs I release.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like my fans are always gonna love it, no matter how crappy it sounds. It's
Right.
sort of like the live events I play. It's like I play some, I mess up a note or something, and they're like, "Wow, you did a great job!" I'm like, really? That was a terrible performance. But
that's funny, man. That's funny because that's so true, right? We are mass critical. Ultra critical because we want to be perfect, right? We want to sound as best we can.
Yeah, and we also want to impress our peers. I mean, for me, I'm trying to press some real like heavy hitters in the industry of like gone on tour with like the likes of Frank Sinatra and Tony Bennett and big pop stars, and it's like I want them to be impressed also, and so I care more than ever, and I don't always hit the mark, but
and we're not perfect, right?
Yeah, well, maybe you are, but not me.
No. Don't say that because I'll never be perfect.
No, but it's important. It's important to listen to the music in your car and on your phone, on your computer, like without the heavy, the big sound system, so that it sound that it actually it's mixed correctly.
Yeah, and I think you had a video, the one of you in the wheelchair. Was it A Bright Day?
Brighter Day Ahead, yeah. That was a fun music video, actually.
I gotta tell you, man, I was reading the comments on that. Some people were extremely touched on that when you released that video. Did you release it on YouTube, I think, or somewhere? And I watched the video, and it really, I'm glad that you kept it uplifting and you got into the music part. But man, it shows you getting up off the railing in the wheelchair, and you're falling down, and you're getting up, and you're just showing the strength of a person that has an unwhelming desire to get back on their feet. And whether you're a football player or you're a baseball player or a basketball player, getting up and tackling the challenge and then becoming a professional at it and letting the world know about it at the same time. So it's so inspiring to do that and to let the world know what you're doing. And what inspired you to do that video? And I'd like to hear a little bit more about it.
I didn't. Well, thank you. And I didn't feel like my fans, my listeners, really got the message that perseverance is really the most important ingredient. A lot of my listeners, they have their own challenges. A number of them have gone through cancer, lost loved ones, so on and so forth, and they just. A lot of them sort of like latched onto me in this interesting way, as if like I was some sort of healer, which I didn't really understand. I'm playing music, but they latched on, like they just needed some sort of emotional connection, especially during the pandemic, and I didn't feel like they fully understood the pain that I went through, and I wanted them to sort of get an idea of the story, so I created that illustration through the narrative of Brighter Day Ahead, and actually did some royalty fundraising for that. People invested,
Awesome.
My friends invested in it.
Awesome. Sometimes we have to talk through our music, right?
Yeah.
Get the message out.
Yeah, and at least my core fans, they're sending me all these DMs and emails and sending me messages that clearly indicated that they got the message, that they understood the message, that what I was trying to relay to them, and that was really gratifying for me.
And that is so awesome, and that really that interested me, just to know, look out a little bit, know who you are, and I want the world, because this is available all around the world, and I don't think people realize that you can watch this video and listen to this podcast anywhere in the world. And I said that to my brother the other day, and he's like deer in the headlights. He's like, really? I mean, what you're doing over there, they can, in Japan and Russia and UK. Yeah, because Amazon and YouTube and all, they're big giants, and so we get our message out there on a worldwide platform.
Yeah.
I can go into all the companies, but whatever. I'm not promoting them either. And we have the, I'm not going to say power. We have the ability to get our message across using our talents, right? Some do it
without the big money.
Without the big money. We're not kneeling on the sidelines of a football game. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We respect our country. And we're going out there and we're talking about more personal things, right? Our challenges in life. It's health, money, family, death, whatever it is, man, we overcome those challenges. Someone like you is out there getting that message out there, and we want, of course, the world's going to want you to keep doing it. So don't ever quit. Even if you have to do
Amen for that. Thank you.
Now, you're on the East Coast. Are you in Long Island, New York? Where are you?
Yeah, Long Island.
Long Island, and I'm looking at, okay, so when COVID started, which I don't even like to talk about that whole pandemic.
Well, apparently it hasn't ended according to
yeah, whatever. Yeah, give them another shot. Give them another
trying to
shot. Yeah. No, I'm not taking no damn shot. The government can go and do whatever. I'm pretty healthy, and I may have gotten that thing way back when, but I'll tell you what, man, it's like a bad flu,
Oh.
And if you're already on the edge, man, I can understand people freaking out.
I had some pretty nasty side effects from that one.
Did you?
Yeah.
It was a bad one, man. And as far as shutting down all the world and the businesses and everything else, man, I think we could have done a little better job on that.
Oh, yeah, just a little bit.
Wrong thing to do, man. Don't destroy the country and our economy. If you're sick, stay home. We could have managed that a lot. I'm not going to get into politics, but
I'd love to extend this another hour. I got plenty to say.
You're on the East Coast, and you performed or played. I only have brief notes on Dua Lipa. Is it Dua Lipa?
No, I did a cover. No, I didn't perform with Dua Lipa.
Okay.
I did a cover of Dua Lipa. No, I performed with guys. I've done different events with some pretty large venues and with some pop stars like Montesiano, that kind of stuff. But
okay,
got called by Kygo and a few others. They're all listed on my website.
Okay.
But yeah, I do various pop covers in between my original releases, and just to kind of show my range.
Yeah. I'm looking at some notes. So wow, you've done a lot of interviews. It says you've done 375 interviews since September 16th, 20. And and I was worried about you not knowing how to do an interview. You're like a professional interviewer,
I mean, I've been around the block. I wouldn't say I don't know. I appreciate it, but I've definitely been around the block, and I've been fortunate to get my story out there through different avenues.
Yeah. So, okay, let's get back to what is the biggest show you've ever done, and probably one of your favorites that you went on stage and you went, wow.
I mean, I've done a number of equally pretty large. I guess everything's relative. There's there's Madison Square Garden. It was pretty big. I'm gonna say that wasn't a little.
Oh my God, that'd be awesome, man.
Yeah, so that was a number of years ago. I did Carnegie Hall, which was when Neon Dreams came out.
Okay.
3 years ago, about.
Only 3 years ago. Okay.
Lincoln Center about like, a few years prior to that. I've done a bunch of major venues, Master Theater, PBS twice. I mean, like some cool opportunities.
Now, did you get those gigs on your own, or are you represented by a management company?
So I'm a bit of an eclectic kind of personality here. I have not signed on to any exclusive management.
Okay, good for you.
Of my own volition, because I didn't feel like I was ready, and the reason why is because they recommend that once you reach a certain like level or a certain plateau of accomplishment, then it's a good idea to like kind of just stick with management. But I feel like, once you sign a contract, even if it's like a major label, it's like whoop-de-doo, they give you a 360 deal, you can end up getting kind of screwed. So
yeah,
I'm waiting till I can sit down and negotiate with a management deal that's actually really beneficial, and it's actually going to promote my music and isn't just going to end up in somebody's pocket without actually doing the work.
Absolutely, like Pearlman, right? Taking the Backstreet Boys down, and they went through and they had no money in their bank account, and those guys were huge stars, and look what happened to them, right? Pearlman went to a prison for 22 years, and I think he died. He died.
Fascinating story.
And I've been in the business for over 40 years, and I have been approached by Dick Clark Productions. I've been approached by mass labels. EMI, Capitol, they've all come to me backstage and said, hey man, we want you, but we don't want your band. Well,
really?
That was like a big slap in the face, man, because I'm playing all original music. I'm doing a headline show at the Roxy Theater. I'm playing at Gazzari's. I was the house band at Gazzari's on Sunset Strip. I'm playing the Whiskey. I'm playing with Rat, Warrant, Motley Crue. I'm playing early Guns N' Roses before they were famous. Poison opened up for me. I'm giving you a little timeline.
Wow. What an honor.
I was the lead singer for Danger. I don't know if you know that. I was the rock and roll lead singer for Danger, man. We played with Poison to open up for me in a little town called Azusa. And Brett came in my dressing room and says, hey, man, how do you make it out here? I go, well, first of all, nobody's going to pay you, so forget about the money. Second of all, play everywhere and anywhere they'll let you play, because, you don't have a job, so just get in your motorhome and play. And promote the crap out of yourself and be a little bit different. And they had the makeup and they had the hair. And 2 weeks ago, I turned on the Joan Rivers show, and guess who's on the freaking national television? Poison. And her introduction was, these guys are coming out here from back east. They wear lipstick, they got hair. I'm introducing Poison.
How do you like that?
And it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I go, you got to be freaking kidding me. I just played with those guys 2 weeks ago.
That's so cool.
And that's how you make it in Hollywood or in LA, right? Who you know, right?
Yeah.
Right, timing.
I guess so.
Who you know, what you know, whatever, man.
It's connections, I guess.
But I got to tell you, half the talent out there that's blowing through the roof, they don't have the talent me and you have. I'll tell you that right now, and that's the truth. And I'll tell you why. I played with a lot. There's thousands of artists out there trying to make it. And because they don't know somebody, they don't have a lot of money, the timing's not there, whatever. But today, things are loosening up. We can go and launch a song tomorrow, right? You can go and do an album tomorrow, and the world's going to hear it. And you're good. So people are going to pay attention. So, man, congratulations on being who you are and and everything you've done. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, and by no means am I wrapping this up, so you're not getting off.
Well, I want to say it's interesting. I would love to hear your story and what you did. Well, you said you didn't have management initially booking you shows. You were just booking your own shows with your band.
Booking my own shows, man. Booking my own shows.
So I have a tremendous amount of respect for independent artists, maybe because I know the deal. I know how difficult it is. But I feel like if you're able to own your own royalties and own your own music and your own branding, it's worth being way smaller than some major artist who doesn't have control of their art.
Absolutely.
I've done some major productions where I was literally, I felt like a pawn. I felt like just kind of being used, and it was like, okay, you get to be on the big screen, but it's like, it's not your production, it's not your show, and somebody else is just like using you. It's not, it's not as meaningful, and I guess that's why I've been just pushing through my own thing.
And you show that through your videos where you're doing the private gigs. And I saw this one. Now I didn't have a whole lot of time, but you had a young kid. You were giving them a little kiss on the cheek. You were supporting them. Can you talk a little bit more about your support for the youth? And again, I don't have my notes on that, so I'm going to rely on you on that one.
I have so many videos out. I'm trying to remember what that could have been. That could have been my daughter or my son, because I'm always on the road. I'm always out doing gigs, and like whenever I have the rare opportunity to bring my family on a vacation,
right.
Like my kids, they want to see me in person because they listen to my music all the time and they watch my videos. So it could have been. I'm thinking it could have been one of those.
Oh, you know what? It could have been like. You know what I wanted to get to was your support in the not so affluent, the neighborhoods that, I think you worded it differently, and you support those neighborhoods. How do you do that? How are you supporting the youth?
You're saying with
the unfortunate.
Well, that comes on the heels of originally being a
nurse?
DOE teacher. I was a teacher in the South Bronx for low SES communities.
That's what it was.
It's near and dear to my heart because those kids, they need love and they need care and they need education and resources. And it's so rewarding. Like I've had the opportunity. I've showed up at a number of events where I was the performer, and like a couple of my students were there from like 5-6 years prior.
Nice,
and
nice.
Like,
Okay, yeah.
Hey, Mr. Laub,
Mr. Laub.
yeah, I was Mr. Laub to them, and
that's pretty cool.
So that's in the past. Now I'm doing music full time, but
that's a story that you can tell today. Is there something we can do today? Is that situation still vulnerable? I mean, can we help as a society?
Yeah, well, I always kind of hope to really spend a lot of time doing performances to fundraise and provide more resources for these kids.
Okay.
From broken homes, broken families, exposed to drugs, and all sorts of stuff.
Sure.
I mean, that's the power that we as musicians, as performers have.
Absolutely. Entertainers, we got the world stage in front of us.
Yeah.
And I'm all about that, bro. I'm all about that. And so you went through nursing school, or tell me a little bit more about your education. And just you don't have to spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah, I went to NYU because I was obviously taking the degree. I was taking the degree pretty seriously, and I was going to be a practicing nurse until I just, long story short, realized that music was already paying the bills.
Good.
It's like I'm like in the preparing for like a final exam while I'm out in like Denmark doing a performance. I come back and I find out that my professor saw me. I'm like, oh yeah, I posted on social media that I'm in Denmark. I probably should have kept that under wraps, but
yeah. Good for you, man. It's like when I was in high school, I didn't go to class. I just was playing concerts at other high schools.
I wish one of my regrets is that like I didn't get into this contemporary electric violin type of concept earlier. I mean, like in high school, I would have loved to. Like I did performances for my school, a school of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
But it was like I didn't have the proper equipment. I wanted to like show them what violin's all about. I was just playing, I was in orchestras at that time, but I feel like I missed the boat on that. I wish I could kind of rewind time and like show all these kids like what the string instrument is capable of.
Well, you're kind of doing that inadvertently through your podcast. I mean, your broadcast all over the world, your videos, but yeah, more of that, educating, reaching out to these young kids growing up today, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely reaching out, reaching a lot of folks, a lot of young kids. I don't know any people. Well, I guess there are more and more people from upstate where I'm from. I've noticed that they've been listening to my Spotify, iTunes, so forth.
Oh, good.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. I haven't done any concerts up in Buffalo yet. Maybe soon. We'll do that soon.
Well, I think after this podcast, people are going to see you and they're going to hire you. And I'm going to have all of your links, anything you want, at the bottom of the description after this podcast. And then, of course, I'm going to share this across the world on every media platform there is. I have an RSS feed that automatically goes up to Audible, Amazon, okay, and then I've got a handle YouTube. I do that separately. And I've got a YouTube channel I'm trying to build, so you're going to really help me do that too.
Oh yeah, it'd be my pleasure.
People are going to want to see you, I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be showing your video, your music video, and my favorite so far, I haven't watched them all, is A Brighter Day. Is that correct? Is that the name of it?
Brighter Day Ahead, yeah. Yeah, that was...
a little intro on that, and then we're going to go ahead and play it for the audience.
Yeah, again, that was a labor of love. That was pretty much the story of my life a few years ago, and showed how I graduated from a state of complete inability to be a functional human being to being, who I always dreamed of being.
That's awesome. So let's let the world hear that now, our audience, and we're going to just take a little break and play A Brighter Day by ASHER LAUB.
What is up, everybody? Thanks so much for stopping by to check out this music video. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed producing it. I hope you get as much strength from it as I do. This is about a person who overcame the odds with determination. And I think this is a narrative that many of us can relate to, whether it's struggling with physical or cognitive limitations. When somebody else has the answers for us, we can often find strength from within, right? I want to thank DJ Nico, my co-producer, and Sarah Mobius, Cindy Patricia, Shaid Shane, and Z Motion for being amazing partners in this production. They're all such talented dancers. Check out their links below. Also, Ricky from E3 DJs and Subin for manning the video wall and providing the space. Slava and Anatoly for their incredible talents with photography and videography. Also check out their links below. Again, thanks so much for supporting this video. Please share, like, smash that subscribe button, leave a comment, let me know what else you want to hear and see, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Love you all.
That was an awesome video, man. That was. Can you give me a little? How was that? A lot of fun doing, or what?
A Brighter Day was that was shot with some pretty cool drones.
So you had some like drones up in the air shooting that. That's cool.
Yeah, some in the dead of winter.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
I couldn't feel my feet.
Mm.
It was soaking from the snow, because we're talking snow up to like it was at least I'm gonna say like it felt like it was about 1.5 feet or so.
Right.
And it was also a bit windy. You know, you have to make sure that you have minimal wind when you're shooting a drone, because it can kind of.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have a drone. I know the wind screws in all that.
Yeah, and it's also and I have to tell you, just the whole. People don't understand how much work goes into a music video. This one in particular, we're just trying to find the right spot that had aerial approval by like JFK Airport.
Right,
that's a challenge in itself. So in fact, we found this space, this beautiful space, is like we're really. And also, again, the clock's ticking, and you're paying these management and videographers. So yeah, we managed to do this all in one day, morning to evening, and the dancers were incredible.
The editing was amazing.
Sound, lighting, the whole production team.
Now, were those real shots of you in that wheelchair, or were you just playing a role?
No. Hey, like there's just so much you could spend on one music video, right? But that was about as far as I could get.
I'm uncovering your secrets,
Yeah, dirty secrets. I'm hoping that with every release, and I try to keep my fans engaged, so that they really become supporters of what I do, because that's the only way to do it as an independent artist.
No, I think through that video you did that. I was reading the comments below, and people are really touched by that. And I'm going to pump that crap out of that song. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to share it. And I know you're an original artist as well, which throws you into a whole nother category, because you're a music creator genius. I usually drop people into that when they're as good as you are.
You're making me blush.
No, you are genius level talent. There's no doubt about that. Now, I was looking at a song you had written. I believe it was called Atlantis. And it says it's an original song. I don't know a whole lot about that song. I did watch the video, but I'd like to hear it from you.
So Atlantis was really an effort to push the boundaries musically between properly merging like electronic and classical. And I've been seeing more and more people ask for classical, but also there's like a blend of people who want to still see the pop and the electronic. So I got to make a lot of people happy here, including myself. So I felt like Atlantis was like the perfect blend to sort of showcase music that could make many different people happy. Not everybody. There's still complainers out there, like people who don't like the hip hop beat, or people who don't like.
Yeah, you're gonna get those.
Yeah, and I completely respect that, and that's why I release a range of music. I'm not sticking to one genre. But also, I'm doing this. So I'm producing music like Atlantis just to show people what the violin is capable of in terms of keeping its sophisticated edge, but also its simple kind of melodic beauty that, you know, even people who aren't into like classical could still appreciate. But in terms of the message behind it, the narrative behind it, it's in the like in a similar vein to that of Neon Dreams and A Brighter Day Ahead, in that it is the story of like the process in my life, at least from my own experience, where in the beginning the music starts as this kind of like dark, more a little bit of a depressing, morbid kind of intro, and then it gradually moves up to this hopeful climax, and it's cyclical, so it sort of goes back to a similar dark kind of musical vibe. And I think the point of that is to sort of convey, without telling people what to think, you know,
Okay.
it's instrumental for a reason, because people from all parts of the world and
Sure.
cultures are
Sure.
are consuming this song.
Absolutely.
The point is to sort of convey that life is cyclical. We're all going to have our ups and downs, and I think
Absolutely.
the trick is to just not be defeated when it seems like things are too overwhelming for us.
Absolutely. What an awesome story. Do you mind if we play a clip of that right now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we are going to play Atlantis, an original song written by ASHER LAUB, and we're going to premiere it here on the Dean Vaughn Music Podcast Show. So we're going to play it right now for you. Hope you enjoy it. ASHER LAUB, and we just listened to his original song, Atlantis. What an awesome video that was, man. I hope you enjoyed it. Just an outro to Atlantis. Tell me a little bit more about it, and we'll move on.
Yeah, so I think I pretty much covered the general idea, the ups and downs, the cyclical nature of the song, the whole purpose behind it, to skill-wise, to sort of show my listeners the range and the many different capabilities that a simple instrument like the violin has. In different genres. You know, it's not just limited to what the music industry has built around it.
Yeah. Now you just picked up a conventional violin. Are you still playing that live? You still play that?
I do, but it doesn't have the same sound control that my electric does.
Okay.
If you want me to talk about that, I can.
Oh man, that thing is awesome. I was looking at you when you did that show with Matt. You guys were talking about it.
Yeah, Matt with the electric violin shot. Sweet guy. So I really love this instrument. It's not honestly what I'm using in studio recordings. I'm using this baby.
Okay. You are using in recordings. You use the traditional, the acoustic.
Typically, unless I'm doing like electric guitar tones, that's where this guy comes in.
Okay.
But I love the tone on this thing, even the acoustic tone, because the way that I've been able to shape the sound, the EQ, just the pedals that I go through, it really sounds beautiful. And hopefully your listeners, when they kind of check out my social media posts, all those goofy reels that I'm posting on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the place.
They're not goofy.
I care a lot about my tone, and even though it doesn't necessarily deliver 100% what it sounds like through the phone live, right. You can still get an idea that it has a lot of tonal control, and I can hear.
And now you said something about the volume controls on this particular model were easily accessible.
Yeah, so it's got this volume knob on the side here, which is a huge benefit. If it's a little too
I can't see them. Oh, they're knobs. Okay, got it.
Yeah, if it's a little too trebly, I can adjust this knob over here. I feel like I'm Matt here. Take a look at the, and it's got some lights. Now I attached this rubber piece because it's like sort of like a TheraBand, just because it supports my back. It's really important when you're playing intensive music like Vanessa Mae type music up in the third position. You need your back supported. So, and it is a bit heavier than the acoustic.
How much does that one weigh?
I'm gonna say at least double, maybe triple.
Okay, so even though it's smaller, it's heavier.
Yeah, unfortunately, because it's got the electronics in it.
Sorry. And the strings are fat. Are they fatter than the normal violin? Or
no, they're actually the same strings. I mean, I use the same strings pretty much, the dominants.
Okay.
Pretty happy with them, but I wanted to say that most important thing about this is that there's zero feedback with this instrument, so I don't have to worry about being on a loud stage and having that. I don't have the sound guy looking at me when there's feedback. It's usually the mic.
Unlike my side getting feedback over here today, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Well.
I got it cranked, man. You know, I got these headphones on, and I'm just like, you're just so loud in there, right? And sometimes I like it that way. I'm a rock and roll musician. I like it loud.
Yeah.
So you were talking to Matt Bell about this violin, and you said something about you like the design not only because of the LED colors in it, but the easy access. The volume knob was right there.
Yeah. It's a beautiful piece. It's the tonal quality is great. The weight I'm not in love with, but they have lighter versions they're starting to come out with now. It's hard to get the best of both worlds, but this works for me so far.
Now, are you endorsed by Aurora?
No.
You should be.
No, not at this point. And I'm probably going to be, trying out some other options as well.
So you want to keep yourself open to play other manufacturers?
Yeah. And actually, I also, because I've considered kind of customizing the LED lights around other instruments that don't already have it built in.
Gotcha.
Gives some other options.
And that's going to give you a lot of flexibility because there's so many. I'm sure there's so many instruments out there. that you
Yeah.
can play, you know. And now in the recording studio, so it's like a mix. You do both the acoustic violin and the electric.
That's right. You know, for like the live performances, you know, like when I'm doing a live Facebook performance or maybe stage it, I'm doing the electric, and for the acoustic, typically I'm using that for the studio. And you know, for live gigs when people want to hear more of the classical type stuff.
That's awesome. And so the hip hop thing, is that what you like to do? Because I saw you out there dancing with these hip hop guys, and now you're a pretty good dancer. But
Thank
do you do the break dancing as well
Yeah,
yourself?
so like if you see one of my earlier videos, a few of them actually, I'm doing like some flips in the air,
Huh.
which is it's pretty risky when you're doing that on stage. There's just so I
Yeah.
sort of like
With
took
a
a step
violin in
back.
your
Like
hand.
I used to do gymnastics, so the stuff was pretty natural for me.
Oh,
But
okay. All right.
if you trip once, or there's something in your way, or your instrument, like I can't afford. This is thousands of dollars. I can't afford to like
No.
have them. I already lost a $2,000 bow on stage
Oh my
years
gosh.
ago in Manhattan.
Did you say
I was so
$2,000 bow?
yeah, and it was right before I started playing, so I was like furious. But I was
Oh.
thinking everybody's looking at me. There was
Uh,
literally
so did you have to grab the
800
thirty-nine
people in the
dollar?
audience.
Did you grab the $39 bow to finish the gig,
Uh,
or did they
yeah,
make a
yeah.
$39?
I don't think people heard the difference, but I was crying inside.
Oh my God! I didn't know they made a bow for $2,000.
Well,
That is
they make like $100,000 bills,
right.
but
Sure,
that
sure. Laced
that
in
was
gold.
bequeathed to me from like my aunt who was in the Boston Symphony, so that was pretty painful.
That's amazing. So you've been pretty much around the world. Where have you been? And are you ever, or have you been to Las Vegas, Nevada, where this podcast is at?
Yeah, I've been to I'm gonna say 4 continents. And you know, lately mostly in the U.S., across the
Okay,
U.S.
sure.
But Las Vegas has been one of my stops. I'm gonna say 2 times, maybe 3 times. The last one I was out there doing like a corporate event, and I actually shot a music video out there. One of my music videos, trying to remember, I think it was actually I did a couple, but one of them I'm remembering is Bruno Mars
Okay.
song I did. Like you could see me shooting on the strip there. It was fun.
Bruno Mars, one of my favorite artists, man. That
Oh,
guy, and he only comes out with top end shit. You know, he doesn't come out with crap at all. And but you don't hear about him all the time, right?
not enough. But I
Yeah,
love that
yeah, yeah.
he's generally in the top charts,
He's always in the
eclipsing
top.
some of the other garbage that's out there.
Now you played with Bruno. Was this on stage?
No, I never had the privilege of playing with Bruno. Bruno, if you're out there, buddy, please book me. I'm available for hire.
Bruno, give Asher a call. It'll be at the bottom of this podcast, and
Yeah,
I'll have his email and his contact info.
it's okay. It's okay. I don't need to play with all the pop stars. A couple of them here and there. I'm happy doing my own thing.
Now, but you could easily get up on his stage and match him one for one because he dances really good. And
I would love, you know why I would love to play with Bruno specifically because he dances. He's a really good dancer.
right, right.
And I've never had the opportunity to jam with a singer in choreography. And that's something I would love to do.
That is pretty cool, man. And just the fact that you do that, you know, you dance. Do you sing at all? I heard you talking on it. Do you sing ever?
I do sing, but I don't make it my trademark. I feel like I'd rather like I produce music with and for singers.
Okay, okay.
But and I perform with singers, but I don't
But have you
I don't
ever
I
sang?
want to make it, I want to make it really just about the instrument,
Okay,
honestly.
okay, okay.
But
That's
I've been
cool.
asked many times,
I gotta
you know,
ask. I gotta ask because you're
yeah, and it's a
talented.
good question. And maybe I'll just like
And what
maybe I'll do it at some point.
and what other instruments do you play? I didn't ask that.
So I actually, for a period of time, I actually earned a small income over a number of years, playing drums, guitar, piano. Didn't do, I mean, I can play bass pretty well, but I haven't like done any paid gigs doing bass that I can
But
think
you
of.
could
But
play
yes, play
bass. You could play
mandolin.
bass.
What's
Yeah,
that?
mandolin. Now that's one instrument I have a hard time playing. I did Maggie May by Rod Stewart.
Oh yeah, that's a beautiful instrument. It's easy for me to just say, "Oh, I play mandolin also," but really, it's the violins
Okay, okay.
fingering. So it is a little bit of a different skill with the picking than it is with a bow.
Okay.
So you can't just pick up a mandolin overnight. You have to do it, you know, practice a couple weeks, maybe months if you're not as good as the violin. But mandolin is a beautiful, like, bluegrass kind of thing.
Yeah, I have this electric. My brother got it. Let me grab it real quick. See if I can. No. It's in the garage. I have this little electric.
That's all right. I'll wait.
No, we'll do it later. It's a little electric. It's only this big. We bought it up in Big Bear, California.
We'll lose our listeners. While you're going to the garage.
Don't leave. Wait. We're gonna get some popcorn. We're going to take an intermission. Man, I just really loved watching those 2 videos. I can't wait to put it all together. It's really great. Yeah. And so, okay. So where are you going now? What do you want to do with your life? I think that was in a movie.
So I would like, so honestly, I love doing a mix of different types of things. I don't want to exclusively be on tour all the time away because I have a family.
Sure.
But I do want to do more touring. And I love a lot of the different corporate events because it's sort of like you show up, you do your cool stuff, you get paid real well, you get treated like royalty.
Right.
And you don't really have to prepare stuff. And I actually like doing some weddings because it's a beautiful thing. I have an entertainment group, Fiddler's Dream Productions, and that's one of the reasons why I don't want to completely give that up. But as an artist, it doesn't fulfill the artist part of me, the producer, the part of me where, you know, I'm not playing to be expensive wallpaper. I'm playing for you to listen to my music. And
absolutely,
that's something that weddings and corporate events don't really fulfill as much. And that's where it's like touring. You got to tour.
So you're kind of doing them. You're doing them to support your career, right? Income.
Yeah, to support the royalty streams, which support my career as an artist, to produce the creative music videos that, you know, your clients aren't paying for that. Well, some of them are, but most of them aren't.
Well, and we also know that we're not getting rich off the internet as far as downloads and streams.
No, not unless you're Drake.
Or Jay-Z, Drake.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to get back to people. Can they buy your songs from you direct so you get the money for them? And where's the best way to support ASHER? And I will have links as well, but just a quickie from you. What do you want people to go find?
Yeah, thanks, Dean. So you can support me directly. On my website, asherlaub.com, ASHERLAUB.com.
Got it.
There's a store or /merchandise.
Okay.
And I got all this merch. I'm going to say that buying the music is more supportive than buying the merch.
Okay.
And purchasing my music off of iTunes, and then second to that, Spotify, sharing my Spotify links, because you know, concert producers, they do look at that stuff, and
absolutely,
they get more excited about your music than that, and like they obviously care about your social media engagement and like how much people.
That's like a big net you throw out there, and you're saying, "This is who I am, everybody. Now come and support me." If I had to put it in a one line.
Yeah, and people who don't have money, and I've been blessed with some fans who spend a significant amount on me.
That's awesome.
But many don't have money, and they could still support. And I want to tell them that they could still support me, and I remind them by just sharing my music.
That's the best way. Absolutely. Yeah. That is awesome. And of course, I'm going to have links at the bottom of this, and I'm going to be sharing this all over the world. And I just want to make sure I get right to the point. I don't like to throw stuff out there that's not going to do you any good.
And I just want to reiterate to the listeners that this isn't just about my music. It's also about the message that I feel it can't really be emphasized enough. And there aren't enough artists out there who are sharing this message. I think that more artists. I think that if there were 1,000 artists, 10,000 artists sharing the message, that still wouldn't be enough, because it's such an important message to be conveyed to the public.
It is important. It's very important.
That, persistence and not giving up, not listening to the voices to other people telling you what to do, how to live your life, and it's important to find your passion and to really stick to your guns and look at the end goal. That don't give up, that kind of thing. It's I hope that my music, my message behind the music, it serves as a certain degree of inspiration to the listeners.
Man, that's such a great message, and thank you for saying that. It's kind of very poignant. It's what I wanted you to say, because people need to know who you are. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let me see here. Hold on a second. Remove pin. I'm getting used to this whole Zoom thing, man. All these little buttons and all that. I know you're just sitting there going, "What the hell?"
No. Shoot and breathe.
I could pin I like that picture of you back there. Looks like you have a drum set behind you. Man, you play the violin amazingly. I was like, how does he move so fast? And your melody is just amazing. And then the beat comes in, and the mix, I'm telling you, the mix is perfect. When I was listening to that stuff when you were dancing, the guys were breakdancing, and you were doing some, and the drums and the background music was perfectly mixed. And I said, that's why I had to ask you, are you doing all that yourself, or are you bringing people in?
So sometimes for live performances, you bring in pre-edited tracks so that it's like a smooth performance, and then I play over it.
Right.
Right.
When
you're playing with the live band, you need a really good studio guy. You need a really good, live mixing engineer. I have learned over, I'm going to say, you're going to be like, oh, whatever. I've been doing this for 40 years, but like I can say over about 1,700 jobs I've done since 2001.
Wow.
Working with engineers, those types of guys.
Wow.
You cannot depend on them. You have to depend on yourself for the right sound. And whatever you give them raw is all you should expect, that quality to be coming out of the PA system.
Absolutely.
And that's what
you kind of sounded like Prince right there. I don't know if you're much of a Prince fan, but when the story is when he went in the recording studio, he pretty much took over. He threw people out of the room and said, "No, we're doing it my way." But he had the people there. But you kind of remind me a little bit of Prince. Hey guys, you're gonna do it my way, but I need your expertise to make it sound.
I try to be a nice guy on stage, even if like things aren't working out my way. Like if the in-ears aren't working so well, or the monitors aren't working so well, the engineer isn't so competent.
Yeah.
But I've unfortunately gotten frustrated over different situations. Over the years. I mean, percentage-wise, pretty small, considering the level of incompetence of some of the engineers. But I've just found that like I'm much cooler, much calmer when I just have the right sound. I don't have to. I just tell them to keep the sound flat, the EQ flat, no effects, and I'm cool. I'm happy. Like I don't have to have this tension. And honestly, if you have your own in-ear monitors, you don't have to worry about any feedback or anything.
So you're not hard. So you're not hard to work with in the studio. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah. For the studio, forget about. I was talking about live performance.
Live performance,
way easier because it's like I'm in my own studio and I'm recording.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, people are just like really happy with my tone.
Awesome.
I just did a recording for an artist for a label 2 days ago, and they literally had nothing to say.
Oh, lost me. Hold on.
That's a nice picture of you.
That's my old rock and roll picture. That's my, I just throw whatever. I'm not too particular about my profile shot. I pretty much throw anything out there. But I was trying to find my, I'm on San Francisco. I love this green screen, man. Really, I can be anywhere,
What? So you had a Las Vegas residency, or you did shows out there?
You know what? I never really played. No, I didn't have a residency. I moved out here only a year ago, and I had.
How do you like it?
I really like it because there's the roads. I'm actually I have a couple places out here, but I'm over by Lake Mead, the big lake out there, and there's a little town called Henderson. Some call it Hendertucky. It's kind of like the outskirts of Las Vegas. I could be downtown in 10 minutes, and just go right down Boulder Highway, and I'm downtown. I'm looking at the Strip, But
how are your gambling skills?
Yeah, right.
How are your poker skills? How's your poker face?
Yeah, $50, I'm done. I'm not a gambler. No way.
Never play in the morning. That's when all the geniuses come out to play.
Okay, so that's where it's at in the morning. That's so funny. But I love it out here. The weather, we just had like a streak of, I don't know if you call them bad weather, hurricanes or something. The winds get up and it just rained so hard it filled up my boat. I mean, it was full of water. It's on land, thank God. But you know, anybody who has a boat out, it probably sank it unless they have a bilge pump. But I'm a big boater. I love the lake. In fact, if you're ever out here, you let me know, and we'll go out on the boat and Lake Mead.
I'll hit you up.
Yeah, that would be fun, man, to hang out. You know, hang out with you and
do a little jam on the boat.
There you go. I'll bring the 12-string down. I got an Ovation 12-string. I play on stage.
I'm trying to remember the name of that music video of "We Will Survive." I will survive, or "We Will Survive." Maybe you're into country.
Styx, Tommy Shaw, "We Will Survive,"
where he's sort of like rowing down a river and he's like playing his guitar and singing. It's like a really famous music video, and I just thought I would love to do a shot like that, like a music video like that. It's like awesome. Showing the beauty, scenery.
Oh, you could do that out here. Bring your camera guy.
You're right.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. And is there anything? Let's see. Did I miss anything? Do you want to say anything? Because we're going to wrap it up.
I'm sure there is, but
we could talk
forever.
Yeah, we could probably. You know, we have a pretty good. What do you call it? A rapport.
Vibe.
A vibe.
Yeah, rapport. Yeah.
We have a pretty good vibe. I really like you, and I was real impressed, and that's why even when I got the call from your manager, I think it was. And,
Sam. Yeah.
And the minute he told me what you did, I really was pretty much. Hey, let's do this. This is going to be fun. And then I started looking at you on the videos, and I saw some of your live stuff, and I go, "This guy's cool. This guy's really cool."
Yeah, I appreciate it, and also I'm fortunate to have some people working for me that they do a good job and they're passionate about my music and they love it, so they're kind of driven.
That's awesome.
Now, I don't have a major label backing me, but I don't know if I would want a major label backing me.
I got to be honest with you. I had this conversation with my nephew, who's a hip hop rap artist. And we talked about just that. We don't want to have to answer to somebody or be under a 2-3 year contract and they say, you're not selling enough records, we're just going to shelve you, right? And so many artists, I just interviewed Timothy Gaines from the rock group Stryper. And me and Tim talked a lot, you know, we were in each other's band called No Stranger. And they took everything from him. And it was just a bad contract. You know, you're making it, you sign the contract, you're on your way to the top, and some guy comes up, "Hey man, I'm gonna make 10,000 hats, sign here. I'm gonna make 10,000 t-shirts, sign here. We're gonna record a 3-year contract, sign here." And at the end of that deal, when the record company went belly up, guess who was responsible for the payback?
He was.
The musicians.
So
in the contract, that would be that fine print that nobody read. If we go under, you become responsible for all of the debt.
Yeah, I had somebody who wanted to not sign me to a label. I guess they were like more of a classical label, but they wanted to sign me. They wanted to manage my YouTube channel and other channels, right. But they were based in Europe. So I hired a lawyer to like look at the contract, and they're like, probably better not, because if you have a case against them, like you have to fly to Europe to bring the case forward. Like you need somebody local. So that was another example that didn't work out. But on the topic, just one more thing I want to mention on the topic of getting screwed by labels. I actually have a friend and colleague. We played some big venues, let's just say, together. And she's a big deal artist. I'm not going to mention the venue because when she's listening, she watches my stuff. She's going to know I'm talking about her. But I have a lot of respect for her as a musician, and she got signed to a major label. There are 3 to consider. I'm not going to mention the label because she's going to know.
Yeah.
But she got a 5-year contract. And I used to I still do, but like I used to book her pretty regularly for a lot of different events. And now she's like doing really cool concerts with this label, and they're really pushing her. But I know in my heart of hearts that and she's told me she does not know how to negotiate. They are taking advantage of her, and I don't have the heart to tell her. I don't have the heart to like. I can't. It's like she's a grown adult, but I'm very worried about. I'm worried about her.
Well, it's authentic that you're worried about her because you know what she can get eaten up by the tigers, the tigers
Yeah,
and the lion. You know that.
and she's vulnerable because I don't think she knows how to fend for herself. But yeah, there's a lot of cases out there
Now,
like yours that you just shared.
well, do you manage? Do you manage her, or is she under your?
I so I don't like to say manage her in the sense of a record label, but because I didn't have a contract with her, it was more of like a on a case by case deal. So maybe I booked like, I don't know, 20 gigs, 25 gigs a year for
Okay.
her.
Yeah.
And I dealt with her contracts, and she trusted me, and I really cared. I cared about her, and I cared that she got. I always like paid her more than she asked for because
Gotcha.
I don't think she understood her worth.
Well,
Um,
and that goes way back, right? Cadillac Records, you know, when Chuck Berry and all those guys, they gave him a Cadillac. And they said, you got to keep your artist happy, man.
you do, and you don't want them getting all depressed, and that's how they end up. They can't be as productive. So yeah, I've
That,
sort of been on both ends of the situation of these contracts, but I try to contract out as much that you're coming in and out there. I try to
yeah,
contract
trying to
in as
find her.
much of my bookings as possible, but I have a lot of contractors who manage things for me, and if I trust them, I just sort of have them handle things.
Well, that's probably smart because, you know, we were also talking, I was talking with, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Just the
Sometimes my,
video was coming in and out.
yeah, I was playing with the buttons, you know, experimenting. I always do that during a live podcast show. That's when I do all my testing.
Makes things interesting.
You try not to take things too seriously. My friend said, "Man, you know, you're always going to make mistakes. You're going to have issues, but you just
Yeah.
roll it. You just like when you're on stage. I have sang the wrong words to a song, and I made them the right words. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, there's some crappy lyrics to different songs.
Well, I didn't do it intentionally. I forgot the words. And this girl goes, "Oh my God, that was my favorite song." I go, "Did you notice I sang the wrong words?" She goes, "No." No one ever notices our mistakes. And my mom was June Vaughn, who was on the Lawrence Welk show. My mom was a famous singer, right?
Really?
And she told me as a kid, she says, "Son, you never make a mistake when you're playing live. You never make a mistake." I go, "What do you mean by that, Mom?" And she says, "To the audience, you never make a mistake.
Good
Because
point.
if you trip, you may as well do a somersault and get back up and do a solo because that was intended.
Yeah.
If you hit a wrong note, bend it into the right note. If you sing the wrong word, you better sing another,
Yeah.
make it sound like you made up, make those words fit the song." And so I guess my point is, when, if you're a professional, true, talented person out there on the front of the stage, especially a front man, the guitar player's chord comes out, guess what I'm doing? I'm over here telling the audience, raise your hands, let's have a party. So take the
Yeah.
attention off the guitar player. So that's just being professional, right?
Yep,
I'm sure that's
that's
happened to you a few
showmanship.
times. I'm sure you've had an experience. Okay, I have to bring it up. That's happened to you on stage. Give me one scenario.
Well, it's happened many, many times. I just have to thumb back to the many different experiences I've had. You know,
The
again, with
worst
this,
one.
when you're dealing with an incompetent sound guy
Right.
with
Oh, God.
with feedback, somebody who forgets to turn on the monitors, or somebody who has the monitors on but forgets to turn on their tops or their subs.
Yeah.
When the event's starting, it's like, okay, I did a major concert, about a little under 7,000 people,
Oh, wow.
festival
Wow.
last year, where everybody showed up on time. The
Right.
concert started an hour and a half late because they were still building this $1 million stage,
Oh,
like
my
trusses
God.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was like embarrassing. It was really embarrassing. People were paying a good amount of money to be there. And
So your sound went out on the live stage?
well, the sound in the end was fine, but they were still building the stage.
Oh, I see.
So a little bit different than what you were asking, but they were still building the stage, and everybody had to wait for an hour and a half to get into the show.
Oh,
So
I
they were
got
like
you.
standing outside, like
Gotcha.
twiddling their thumbs for an hour and a half. You can't have 7,000 people waiting for an hour and a half for a show.
No. No, that's like Axl Rose saying, "I'm not playing tonight in the limo," right?
It's not. You
Everybody
don't
had
do
to
that.
go home. They don't get to see the show. But you got on stage. How'd the gig turn out? Everyone was happy.
Gig turned out well. Lots of energy. Was grateful to do the concert.
Awesome.
But it's happened a couple times where it's like, okay, the fans, the listeners are coming in, they're shuffling in, and the sound company's still like setting up the sound system, doing the sound check. You can't do that with the band on stage.
Well, that brings me back to: do you have a writer contract when you do these gigs? Do you have a writer?
So you gotta sometimes roll with the punches.
Okay.
I do have a writer, but I don't. I'm not so much of a. I'm a little bit of a prima donna, but I'm not so much, because I like to keep relationships smooth.
Well, like the show has to start on time. I need so much equipment on stage. I need this. How many watts I need, and those simple things. And you have the right to say, hey, look, I'm not performing. You could cancel the gig, but like you and I, true professionals, the show must go on.
So there's a big promoter I worked with, and he still calls me, intermittently, like every year, for some different big productions. And so I for that reason, like, I don't want to like burn bridges or tell him, hey, you did a really shitty job on this concert. Like, we should have worked out the details before you like threw me into the lion's den there in front of like 2,000 people.
Right.
But this one, I'm not going to mention the venue because he might be watching this podcast at some point.
Okay.
But I ended up not getting a sound check. And I was there like at noon, and it was like a 7 o'clock concert. It was just really not cool. And this infuriated me. They ended up playing one track of a song that we agreed that was not going to be played. So I was like jamming to the track in front of all these people, trying not to like, look upset.
Yeah.
And that was embarrassing because like I was the front man and I was playing to a track and there was a band behind me, but it didn't come out well. I don't know if anybody noticed, but
did you roll with the punches on that one and nobody knew what you were doing?
I did, and if I hadn't been seasoned and like just for many years of just being in the limelight there.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Spotlight.
That's a true professional quality. And you got to be quick to act, man, when that stuff happens. And that's really, I've been on stage for over 40 years, so it's almost instinctive for me to react. And I'm sure you've done the same. And you're going to be doing this for a long time. You're only 22, that's right. Is that correct? You're 22?
I'm only 22.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'm glad I'm not 22. I was in a lot of trouble when I was 22.
Look, there are people in Okinawa and Japan climbing trees at the age of 95. I've seen the videos. Look at the Centenarian Foundation. I am a believer in youthfulness in old age. I want to do this for a long time.
And you do look 22. I just have to let you know that.
God bless you.
Yeah, man. Good for you. And so we're going to wrap up, and I want everyone to go out and go to ASHERLAUB.com. That is the first place you want to go, because you're truly supporting the artist on their website. And I will put some links in after the show to get you to the right place so you can hear all of Asher's. He does a lot of work in the promotion area, let me tell you, more than I do. I mean, he's got videos and interviews. He's done 375 interviews. This guy is busy. So I want everybody out there, all your fans, Asher, and I want you to give them a big, hey, thank you for watching type thing.
Thanks, Dean, for having me.
Oh, man, it's been my pleasure and my honor. And since the first time I talked to you, I knew I was in for a really good podcast with you and a conversation. So thank you for joining the Dean Vaughn Music Podcast Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And everybody come back soon. Thank you, Asher.
Thanks for having me, Dean.
Cheers.
Cheers.